As county workers, we've had a very, very tough couple of years, right? Obviously dealing with the pandemic, having to be disaster service workers, having to deal with almost like enmity from both sides, right? Like we get abuse from the public that we actually serve because, they're sometimes not really knowing exactly what we do or how we could possibly help them. And we are just trying our best to help them. So I figured this is a great way perhaps to help us communicate better with our clients and even with each other. So I would love to introduce Eric Huang. He is certified with Nonviolent Communication. He has a bachelor's and master's in environmental engineering. And he also works in marketing in Silicon Valley. And he's also, for 20 seasons now, been coaching soccer. And he is the recipient of the Eric Huang Coach of the Year Award in downtown San Jose, the American Youth Soccer Organization. And yes, you heard me right, the award is named after him. So with that, I give it to Eric Huang.
I'm really excited to be here, and I have to say I've always wanted to live in where I live. And I was really, really lucky when, I'm so happy to be actually in this neighborhood. So we started this soccer region called Downtown San Jose as part of AYSO, and we had, every Sunday I would show up for 3 hours and coach little kids from ages 3 up to age 5, soccer at Bakesto Park. And it was great. And I also discovered that I'm an introvert because after, I was supposed to be there for 3 hours, after about an hour and a half, I wanted to lie down on the grass and not get up. So I'm really excited to be here, and I'm so excited to have met so many of you. My understanding is the reason they asked me to come is because Donna, is it Donna? Donna was very violent, and my understanding is we needed to get her trained up on nonviolence. That's what. Yeah, that was my understanding. That's my understanding. I really want to. I really want to. My training is in environmental engineering, so I've worked with state and local officials in my early career. And I just want to say I'm so appreciative of all the work that each of you do to make life better for for me specifically, because it's my needs are important, but for us, for the community. So I'm really grateful to be here. And also really sad to hear about how hard it was for you specifically during the pandemic. And I think that part of becoming, for me at least for me during the pandemic, I was actually burned out before the pandemic came. So when you get into a burnout state, you go into a negative state, and it becomes, for me, I got burned, and it was hard for me to get up and go to work in the morning and try to be productive and super productive. And I imagine it was something like that for you as well. And you come out of that, and then you're still running. So now we're mostly out of the pandemic, but there's still some stuff going on. So I imagine that it's very challenging. So there's two pieces to nonviolent communication that I'm going to talk about. And normally, here's what's happening right now. So if you'll bear with me. I have a whole agenda planned, and I'm thinking now about how to change it a little bit to address this specific thing. So I'm going to give a quick intro. So what I'm doing is I'm being really transparent with how I'm changing the agenda as I'm adapting to what I think you might be interested in. So there are 3 modes. Nonviolent communication specifically is thought of as a way to communicate with other people. But really it's a way that we learn to communicate with ourselves in an environment where people are not perfect at communication. In fact, I would say, and it's based on the ideas of Martin Luther King and Mahatma Gandhi, but the central question, the central thing concept, which I learned, and this is not the official line. The idea is that if I can really embody the idea of nonviolent communication, the only thing I ever hear from someone, the only thing that anybody's ever saying is, can you love and accept me as I am? Can you love me and accept me, or accept me as I am? Since you're public employees, accept would probably be the way to go for other people. And for me, even, the answer is, unfortunately, Donna, no, I cannot love and accept you as you are. No, you need to change for me to love and accept you as you are. Exactly. So Donna, you need to change, because you need to change to make my life better, right? So, yes, exactly.
Was I married to you?
Yeah. Thank you, Robin. Yes. No, not yet. We haven't been married yet. So the idea is that if I can hear what someone is really needing, love, acceptance, harmony, peace, ease, efficiency, comfort, if I can hear that's really what they're asking for, but really, can you accept me as I am? I can soften a little bit so that when I respond, I can accept you as you are. I can respond with greater warmth, and I can respond in a way that has more curiosity, and then we can have a conversation. So in order for me to do that, I will ask my question, and usually it's with my mom or dad. If they're saying to me something that triggers me, activates me, floods me, I try to think of it in terms of, I get frustrated because I really want my parents to love me as I am, but they are always wanting to change me so that they feel better, or something like that. I hope that makes sense. So the idea is that in that moment when we become triggered, I can do enough self-empathy in the moment so that I can respond to my mom or the other person in a way which is going to be more connecting. So the practice is self-empathy for me, empathy for the other, and then honest expression to try to support empathy for the other and communication. Those are the three modes. Self-empathy for me. And so this is where I think it's important for maybe where I'm guessing you all might be at as people serving the public. You're in a state where it's almost like a demand on you to always be happy and serving people. I think that's unbelievably challenging. So for me, the steps would be something like, if someone's getting angry with me, have some self-empathy for myself. But then in the moments outside of that, this is what I love about this kind of community, and talking with you at the tables or outside, is that there's clearly a sense of community. So number one is that in the moment, if you can give yourself a little bit of self-empathy. The second thing then is to have community. And while there are certain other reasons for having a union, I think a union is important to have community so you have co-support. So you can go and find the people and talk to them, including Donna. You can go and talk to Donna or Nancy or Aaron or Lawrence Michael or whoever it is in your group, and you can get some connection time, some empathy. Then you're a better resource for the times when you go out. And this is not to anesthetize or use it as a narcotic to make everything better. It's a way to really, truly connect with what's important to me so that I can communicate with you better. And so it's for my well-being in the end. So that's how I wanted to open, completely changing my agenda. So then I'm going to talk about, I'm going to stop for a second and see if there's any questions. Actually, I'm going to pause and see if anything's coming up for anyone, if anyone wants to say anything.
We're a shy bunch.
Yeah, clearly. Yes?
Could you just reiterate those three things? You said self-empathy, empathy for the other,
And the third mode is honesty. Self-empathy, empathy, and honesty. Self-empathy, empathy, and honesty. So occasionally, I'll give you an example. Occasionally, I will make an honest statement. So the question is, what are the three modes? Self-empathy, empathy, and honesty. So occasionally, honesty is more connecting. With my mom, I'll just say, Mom, you need to stop right now. I can't hear another word. I need to go to work. So that's an honest expression. And then sometimes she'll stop and she'll become curious. But it's not always best that I'm going to say to Abel, I'm really upset with you right now, and you're not meeting my needs. That's not always the best way. In fact, I would say, generally, I would not go to honesty first. If Abel is doing something, I do self-empathy first, and I do some empathy for Abel, and then I do honest expression. So I usually wait for honest expression. I'm really going ahead fast, but the idea is I only have three choices. Self-empathy, so pause, be quiet, look inside. Empathy for the other, or honesty. And I'm always looking for the one thing that supports connection. So thank you for that question. Okay. Here we go. You ready? I'm going to give you the stock presentation, but I want you to interrupt me when you have questions. Okay. Part of practicing empathy here in nonviolent communication is this very specific kind of empathy around the vocabulary of emotions or feelings and needs, and specifically needs. And by connecting to each other and really connecting yourself through this vocabulary of needs, you begin to reprogram the mind from judgment. Like the judgment could be that, I'm sorry, Donna is a jerk, right? To Donna has needs and she just wants to be accepted as she is. So I'm looking for, so what I'm going to do is, so you've got a couple of things. You've got the handouts, which you can take home with you, and the cards, which you may not take home with you, which we'll use for an example. We'll do an exercise in a little bit. But the idea is we learn this vocabulary to help reprogram our minds towards this psychology of needs, okay, as opposed to strategies. So we're going to talk about building trust through empathy generally, what it is. We're going to talk about what is not empathy. What is not empathy? I know you're all familiar with that from your interactions with the public, but we'll talk about what's not empathy. We'll do a demo, and then we're going to do something called empathy poker using the cards that you have there, okay? The idea is that I'm going to have you actually practice some of the things that we're talking about. Okay, so this is based, so Google, when it was growing really fast, did a project. It's called Project Aristotle. They were acquiring all these companies, and they're like, how do we figure out what an effective team is? Okay, and I see you all as a team, and then you all manage your teams, okay? So what is the number one characteristic of effective teams? So I'm going to ask you to either yell it out really loud, or you can raise your hand and then yell it out, whichever one you want. So what is the number one so just to be clear, Google did this study. They took 180 teams. 2/3 of them were sales-oriented, marketing-oriented, and the other third was engineering-oriented. They looked at the 180 teams and they said, and did qualitative and quantitative studies to figure out what is the number one characteristic of effective teams. So what would you guess those are? So go ahead.
Vulnerability and trust.
Vulnerability and trust, thank you.
Communication.
Communication, thank you.
Collaboration.
Collaboration, thank you. You got it? Okay.
Listening.
Listening, yes. Flexibility. Anything else? Cooperation, excellent. Empathy, thank you. Connection, thank you. Anything else? Honesty. Communication, honesty, thank you, yes. Okay. So excellent. First of all, those were all great guesses because they're all needs, universal human needs. And so what I'm actually going to talk about is something called psychological safety. So this is the number one characteristic. And all of these things that you said are important, but in order to have these needs met, you need to have something called psychological safety. So your next question is, what is psychological safety? What is psychological safety? So psychological safety is this idea. It's the idea that you can offer an idea, admit to a mistake, or ask a question. You're not going to be seen as ignorant or disruptive or incompetent or negative. And there's not going to be any punishment or embarrassment. So when you're in a safe when you feel psychological safety, it's because you're not going to be embarrassed or punished, okay? And you're not going to be seen as disruptive. Does that make sense? This is the definition of psychological safety. So the question then is, how does that link to how we feel? So there's this idea, I think, that's developed through, whether you call it capitalism or domination culture or whatever you want to call it, that we're just brains and that we don't have bodies. But it turns out that these ideas of psychological safety come from physical safety. And the reason it does is because if you think long ago, thousands of years ago, tens of thousands of years, we formed groups of people, villages, tribes. And we formed these things so that we could protect ourselves from the weather, from predators, and from starvation. And so in order for us to be protected from that as small children, so we wouldn't be sent into the wild to be eaten by wolves, we had to feel safe. So we had to have a sense of belonging. In order for us to belong, we had to comply. We had to adapt to our parents, to the environment that we were in. So if we feel safe, feeling safe in those days meant actually being physically safe. Does that make sense? Okay. So it turns out that after 10,000 years of being like that, our bodies are actually built like that. The people who behaved in that way survived and went on and had children, and then they learned these same habits. So psychological safety is linked specifically to physical safety. So that if you don't feel psychologically safe, like you're like, I'm in danger now, even though this person is on a Zoom or on a phone somewhere out, then I don't feel physically safe. Okay, so that's the link. That's how everything works together. So how do you build psychological safety? So you said some of these things. And if you can build them, then you can have trust and collaboration and honesty and vulnerability and communication and connection. But then you can have also greater creativity, and you can use internal motivation to move forward. So in order to do that, we actually use empathy to build trust with other people. So here's one piece I'm going to add here now, so which is, oh, and I don't remember what the story is, so I'm going to skip over that.
Nice. Put honesty there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So the idea here is that there's this universal language or vocabulary of human needs. So again, collaboration, trust, creativity, cooperation, belonging, all of these things. And everything we do or say is to meet a need. Everything we do or say is to meet a need. So I'm going to link this back to that first statement, which is anytime anybody ever says anything to me, or every time I say something to you, it's because all I want is love and acceptance as I am, as I am. So everything I do is to meet some sort of a need. Everything I do is to meet some sort of a need. So this is the first learning point. You'll get all these slides from Lawrence Michael. Lawrence Michael, I'm going to ask you to send these slides to everyone afterwards in a PDF. Yeah. So everything we say or do is to meet a need. So if I yell at my kid to get out of the road, it's to meet a need for safety. Okay? If I take the checkbook away from my elderly parents, it's because I want to support their sustainability. It's to meet needs for trust and support, as an example. So then the next point is then how do we connect to other people through needs? So we want to connect to people through needs. So again, the handouts are for you to take home so you have the vocabulary of feelings and needs with you, as well as body sensations. But we're going to focus primarily on feelings and needs today. So normally I would have you write this down. I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about this now. Okay, so I forgot you'd be eating. So what I'm going to do is we'll do this as audience participation. I want you to just now think about something that you do for fun, other than come to breakfast with me, which can be fun. Okay, and I want someone to, we'll give you the mic. Do we have the extra microphone somewhere? Sorry. Okay, I want a couple of, okay, so we'll start here, actually. So you're going to be my runner today, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's start with shout out some activities that you like to do that are fun. Golf? Golf. Travel? Shopping?
Potlucks with friends.
Potlucks with friends, there we go. Dance? Did you say ecstatic dance or ballroom dance or any dance? Singing and dancing, thank you. Baila y canta, gotcha. Hike, okay. I planted you. What's your name? Sylvia. Thank you, Sylvia. Okay, so we're going to try, let's give the microphone to Sylvia, okay? Okay, I'm going to pick hiking in this case for the first example. So I'm going to ask you to open your page Open that to, actually, it might be the front page, the needs one, list of needs. Is there a list of needs? Which page is that?
First page.
First page? Okay, does everybody have one? If you don't have one, we're gonna get you one. Somebody's gonna get you one. Somebody. Hey, move faster, Lawrence Mike. Okay, so take a look at the list of needs. We're going to imagine Sylvia hiking through the woods. And now we're going to give some guesses for needs that are met. Needs that are met for Sylvia. Okay? Guess some needs that are met for Sylvia. Okay, so take a look at your list of needs and then we'll shout them out. Please do this in an orderly fashion, not the way Donna does it, in an orderly fashion. Go ahead. Clarity. Freedom. Self-protection. Safety. Harmony. Exploration. What was that? Support. Fluid water. Maybe flow. Is that what you mean?
Play. Yeah.
What was that?
Play.
Play. Very good. So now we've made some guesses. This is really the process, okay? Sylvia, which of those land for you well? What are the most alive for you?
They all sound great.
They all sound great. Okay, you guys got it right. Okay, so just so you know, there's no right or wrong answer. There's no right or wrong answers in all of this. When we give a guess, a needs guess, and it's always a guess, it's always a question. It's, Sylvia, you're feeling really angry right now. No, that's not it. It's Sylvia, are you angry? Or did you get needs met for play or for flow, for fluidity, or for safety, for self-protection? It's always a question, and it's to support, there's no right or wrong. All we're doing is supporting Sylvia thinking or feeling into what the need is. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Any questions? Okay, so I'm going to go back to the three modes. I'm sorry, could you repeat your name for me?
Andrew.
Okay, if we go back to the three modes, which Andrew asked about, the modes are self-empathy, empathy, and honesty. Self-empathy, empathy, and honesty. What we just did is we gave empathic guesses to support Sylvia's self-empathy process. I give you empathy to support your self-empathy so you become more self-connected so that eventually we get to a point where I can honestly express and we can have a discussion. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, if it was a negative thing, it would be something different. So I'm going to take another example. What was one of the other examples? I'm trying to remember. Kanta Ibaila. Dancing, singing and dancing. Singing and dancing, okay? And what was your name? Who said singing and dancing? Yvette. Yvette? Okay. Sylvia, could you run the microphone over to Yvette for me? You didn't know that movement was going to be part of your, thank you. Okay, now look at your list again.
Is this my debut to sing a song?
Yes, that's right. That would certainly meet needs for me for fun. So singing and dancing, what needs would be met? So start shelling them out. Expression. Self-connection. Play. Inspiration. I heard something over here. Okay, keep going. Passion. Freedom. Contribution. Individuality. Play. Being seen.
Confident.
What was that?
Confident.
I'm sorry.
Showing off because I know her.
Showing off because you know her. Okay. I'm sorry, I missed the last one just before that. Confidence. Build confidence. Okay. So, Yvette, how does that land with you? How do those guesses land with you? Any of those more alive than the other ones?
I think play, freedom, and community. Expression.
Okay. Anything else that comes up for you?
Yeah, physiological.
What was the last one? I'm sorry.
Physiological?
Physiological. So maybe some movement, maybe some exercise, maybe some well-being in there?
Yes.
Okay.
Singing's like shouting. It feels good, but you're not looking like you're aggressive when you're singing.
Something about really getting it out there. Something about expressing big, authentic emotions. Something like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess also it's regenerative for you somehow, or energizing. Is that true?
Yeah, it's just fun.
It's just fun.
The
It's
vagus
just
nerve,
fun.
you know.
We don't even, what was that?
The vagus nerve in you.
Yeah, the vagus nerve, absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I do torso twists when I get out of bed every morning, after I've rolled onto the floor to do some stretching. Thank you, Yvette. Thanks for that. So this is the process of guessing, okay? And the idea is to figure out what's coming alive in the moment. Let me see. Okay, we've done that. Okay. Okay, here we go. So here's now we're going to do some examples of what causes disconnection. What causes disconnection, okay? And I'm going to read these off real quick because you probably can't read them. So here are some things that are not empathy and cause disconnection. So don't do what Donna does. You don't want to do these disconnecting Donna things, okay? Actually, let's Donna, I'm going to give you the microphone for a second. Donna, since I have you, if you sing them, yes, then Donna, just for fun, could I have you read these off for the group?
I guess. Evaluating, colluding, spiritualizing, coaching, reassurance, storytelling, advice/fixing, minimizing, interrogating, one-upping, sympathizing.
Okay. Thank you. Donna. Thank you, Donna. By the way, just so you know, Donna did give her consent that we could have a little bit of back and forth here. I didn't just pick on her.
I did not.
I was there. I heard it. I sat right next to you.
I don't even know.
I think I'm going to have to bring Donna to every event I do going forward. This is great. Maybe Nancy and Robin as well. We'll have to decide about Lawrence Michael. So what is not empathy? So here's what we're going to do. I hope that we can do this together. Look at that up there. I'm going to say a statement, and then you're going to yell out something, a response that is to one of these things. You're not going to say what the thing is that you're doing, but you're going to give me a response, and then someone else will say which one it is, okay? So we'll start with an example. So you do need to raise your hand for this because I need to keep this part under control. Okay. So this could be very shocking for some of you, okay? Just, there's a trigger warning here. Okay, so look at that. I'm going to say my statement. You're going to think of something. You're going to raise your hand, and you're going to give me a response, okay?
And you want it to be one of these things.
I want it to be one of these things, but it could be a different disconnecting statement if you want. Okay, it could be any disconnecting statement that you want, and then we'll figure out which one it is. So if you don't, that's the other thing. Thank you, Zeb. Your name is Zeb, right?
You got it.
Yeah, thanks for training those rebel forces, by the way. No problem. Star Wars. Anyway, actually, this is it. If you have a disconnecting statement, you can just say it, and then we'll figure out which category it falls into, because you'll be good at this, because you've heard these on your phone calls all the time. Okay, my cat died. My cat died.
At least it wasn't your kid.
At least it wasn't your kid. At least it wasn't your kid. That's right. So which one of these is that? Minimizing, right. Okay. One more time. My cat died.
My dog died.
Your dog died. One-upping. That's right.
Cats are better.
Cats are better. That's right. That's right. My cat died.
You horrible homo.
You-
You horrible pet owner.
Oh, you horrible pet owner. You horrible. Which one would that be? Evaluating. Okay. Can someone give me an example? Here, we'll try this. Can someone give me an example of something that you heard from someone that you really didn't enjoy? Like,
That reminds me of a story.
that reminds me of a story. There you go. Okay, one more time. My cat died. Oh, sorry, where's the hand?
We can pray for him.
We can pray for him. We can pray for him. Which one would that be? That's right. And there was one more over here. What was it? I said he's old. He's old. And that would be?
Reassurance.
Reassurance, minimizing, sure.
That's too bad.
That's too bad. What would that be? Sympathizing, maybe? Yeah. You can get another cat, yes. Fixing. What did you do? Which one is that? Get over it. Yeah. Interrogating, yeah. So someone hasn't come up with my favorite spiritualizing one yet. So I will try another one. I broke my arm. Try spiritualizing. Any response to I broke my arm.
It's part of God's plan.
It's part of God's plan. There you go. That's it. Was that Zeb?
Yes.
Yeah. From
It'll make you stronger.
It'll make you stronger. Yeah. There we go. What's that? We won't do that again. Yeah. My favorite one when I don't know if you know, there's a BMX park in West San Jose. I took my kids there anyway. I smashed my face, dislocated my finger. I shouldn't even tell you all the parts. I ended up having to get plastic surgery on my face. This isn't my real face. So my boss, I told my boss, he said, Eric, you're not 20 anymore.
You should say, yes, I am on the left side.
Yeah, on the left side. Yes, that's right. Oh, I can tell this is my community right here. So now you know what's disconnecting. And what's great about this is, of course, now it's funny. In the moment, it can be not so awesome.
Can I ask a question on this?
Yes, of course, Aaron.
Thinking about how some of those things kind of align with our job descriptions, though. Like if you go back to that list, right? Yeah, I know. This is my first SEMA event, so I'm thinking. I was just thinking, like, if you go back a slide, our job involves evaluating and coaching and fixing, right? Like that's some of our jobs are to do these things with the people we work with, and so I think that's kind of the part for me that's really hard is because if you have a worker that comes to you who broke something, and you're just like, well, I need to reassure you, but I also I gotta fix what's broke, and I gotta make sure you don't break it again. So I think the hard thing for me about this is that you want to be empathetic, but sometimes my job involves those things, and sometimes it's very explicit, like coaching, that's part of a lot of our job codes, and evaluating is part of probably all of our job codes. And so I think that's the hard part is you want to be empathetic, but there's also I have a role to play in the system, and does this system allow me to be authentically empathetic every time I want to be?
Yeah, exactly. So you want to be authentic, you want to do your job, you want to support the organization, you want to support the person's growth, and you want to make sure the person is you can trust the person in the future, and you need to be authentic, something like that.
But at the same time, if I'm their supervisor or manager, I also have to hey, it's okay you made this mistake, but if you do it 5 times,
Yeah.
then we got to talk. And so I want to be empathetic, but I also have to realize you can't keep making the same mistake over and over again, because my job is to make sure they don't keep repeating. And so that's the hard balance for me is how do I be authentic, be empathetic, but also then make sure my job is being fulfilled at the same time.
Yeah, so I think that you're a little bit torn inside, but it's clear. You want to do a good job, you want to be empathetic, you want to support, and you really want to do a good job for yourself, to support yourself. You want to be effective, and you want the team to be effective, and you want to be honest and authentic, and you want people to be effective in their job, and you want to prevent future mistakes or whatever it is. Loss of job, loss of whatever it is. Something like that? Okay.
I like how you're saying what my needs are.
Thank you. You get an A for today. Does you spell Aaron with an A or with an E?
2 A's.
2 A's. Oh, he's a double A. There you go. Yeah. No, thank you. That's perfect. Honestly, yeah, that's it. And I think what's challenging, and that makes sense. I mean, so here's what's I think important, and I think many. Some people think it's an either or. And what I like about what you're saying is that for you it's both. It's both and. I really want to be empathetic, and we have to do our jobs in a way that's, safe and effective and money efficient and something like that. Yeah, so it's challenging. So what you've seen now is exactly what Aaron was saying, is I'm giving him empathy by naming feelings and needs. That's the first thing. Second is acknowledging that this is a both and. And that's part of what this process is to make it safe to make a mistake. So one of the things that's also a need is accountability and self-responsibility. Those are also needs. So you need to be accountable, and you want your employees, your people, everybody to be accountable, let's be honest. That's why they're universal needs. So part of empathy is being able to connect to someone in such a way that you can have hard conversations. You build trust so you can have hard conversations, whether it is with one of your employees, a member of the public, or a negotiation with the county for something. Does that make sense? So this is one piece of it. So it's self-empathy, empathy, honesty. Self-empathy, empathy, and honesty. So I want to get to the point where I'm self-connected enough. I'm not like anxious, I'm going to lose my job because I'm going to tell you that you might lose your job. Or there's real things that have stakes. But I want to get to the point. And sometimes being honest is the first thing to do. Maybe you don't do any empathy for the person. And then you're also, the other thing I want to state very clearly is I think all managers are time constrained. So you need to take care of yourself so you can take care of other people, and yet there's not enough hours in the day, and you're not given all the hours and all the dollars and all the people you need to do your job. So now you're stuck with, how much time do I have today to deal with this? And this is a very unpleasant thing. I've got to tell Donna again, there was another complaint against her, and this behavior has to change, and I need to coach Donna so that she, will do better. Yeah, good luck with that. That's right. Sorry, do you want me to pick on Abel instead? Because he's right here. You're okay? Yeah. Robin's great with it. So I want to recognize that. So the idea is to build enough trust so you can make mistakes. And yes, people will make mistakes. And yes, we want to support them. And yes, there may be a hard conversation down the road, which is, Eric, you missed your numbers, or you've crashed that train 3 times. We can't have you driving the train anymore. That's just not an option. So we're going to have to do this, this, and this. So that's part of the process. And the idea is if you build this, if you have empathetic conversations over time, there's enough trust that you can have it's easier to have hard conversations, but it's still hard to have hard. Does that make sense? So the idea is to give you some basic skills to get you started, and then we can even do, if there's time, we'll see, we can role play. Let me just check on the time. Oh, I turned off my phone.
You have the time? 9:12.
Thank you. And we're going to schedule to go to what time?
Till 10.
Okay, great.
And then Q&A after.
Okay, perfect. So the idea is to, does that make sense? Are you okay? So, see, the idea here is to put empathy or connection first. So it's empathy before education, and it's connection before correction. Okay, empathy before education, connection before correction. To be really clear, though, that if my kid, which this happened, is running into the parking lot and there's a truck coming, I can use what's called protective use of force to grab him by the shirt and pull him back before he gets run over by the car. So I don't empathize with him first and say, I know you really wanted to run out and have fun, but you need to come back right now. No, I don't do that. I grab him by the shirt and I say, yeah, you're back here, and then I do repair afterwards. So Donna, next time, remember, safety first. Thanks. Repair afterwards, that's right. Who said repair afterwards? Is that, Jim.
So I wanted to make a comment because I thought the point you made about building trust is so important, especially as you're, thank you.
I wanted to just acknowledge that the point about building trust is so important, especially when, as Aaron was pointing out, you may have to do these corrective coaching situations. Some of us here in the audience are public safety or are dealing with an emergency situation where there isn't time in that moment to empathize, like you just gave with the example of the kid running and your child running into the street. But if you've established that relationship and that trust, the team or your colleagues will know that you'll come back to whatever the need was. But in that moment, I don't have time to address this now, we'll get back to that, here's what I need you to do. And especially for our public safety people that are incident command, it's an order, right? Get in, I can't empathize with you, you need to go into the fire right now, right? I'm not even gonna say that I can't empathize with you, there's a direction and an order.
Right.
But establishing that trust, if you notice something's off with whoever, a member of your squad, a member of your team, whatever, you know that your colleague is gonna come back to you, your boss is gonna come back to you when there's time. And I think that's so important. So thanks for mentioning it.
Yeah, thanks, Seb. So I think what I heard you say was there are real situations where safety is involved and you have to execute right now. And then establishing trust early through many, many interactions, so you're going to come back so that your feelings, your needs actually matter to your incident commander or your manager or whoever it is, something like that. Okay, thanks, Seb, for that. That's really helpful for me. And I just do want to point out there is the possibility, although this is more on TV than probably in real life, where you can say, look, this might be really scary or really hard right now, and we need to do this right now. So, and then you just go. So there still can be the this is where honesty can be more connecting than empathy. If I can say, this is great, I put on my glasses, I can see your eyes now. But the idea is I can say in this moment, Yvette, this is really scary for me, and we need to just do this now, something like that. So it's possible to give a micro moment of empathy either through revealing what I'm feeling now, with the assumption that, and they might feel it too, okay? Or even guessing what they're feeling. You might be scared, you might be exhausted. We've been doing this for 18 months. Let's get through today, and then we'll regroup in the evening or next week or something like that. Does that make sense? So it's possible to do that, but thank you for the point about building trust early on. And now I'm wondering if I should have just let your comments stand instead of trying to say that, but thanks, Ed. How was it for you to hear what I said? Was it okay?
Incredible.
Okay. Incredible, that's a new word for me, thank you. Okay, so empathy first, and you don't necessarily have to use this specific wording. Are you feeling, are you needing, okay? But generally we go for fewer words. I'm not gonna diagnose you and say, wow, it sounds like you're really disassociating right now and your personality disorders are coming out right now. Are you feeling angry and upset? I'm not gonna say that. I might just say, are you feeling angry? Are you feeling upset? Or I might even just say, you seem frustrated or torn. Are you needing some real efficiency right now? Or something like that. But the idea is to use fewer words and stay with feelings and needs, okay? So we're gonna try a round of empathy poker now. This usually is a 45-minute round. And I'm just trying to think if we can do 45 minutes. So we're going to use the cards. So I'm going to ask you to do groups of 3 or 4 ideally. And if you don't have cards, so you need one more deck. And so Lawrence, Michael, if you can help. So if you're only 2, try to find another 2 people to be with, or one more person. Yeah, take these 2 decks. You're only going to use the red cards. And then, and you don't need to shuffle them. You don't need to do anything. Just split them up amongst, and I'll explain in a minute. So hold on before you do anything with the cards. You can take out the red ones and start looking at them if you want. So I hope if we don't have enough cards, I have one more deck. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do, just to remind you, the purpose of this exercise is to get you using the vocabulary of feelings and needs, and specifically needs. So the process is going to be something like this. So you're going to pick someone who's going to speak. So there's one person who's going to be, one person is going to speak, and they're going to talk for uninterrupted for 3 minutes. Uninterrupted for 3 minutes, okay? Uninterrupted for 3 minutes, while the other 2 or 3 people are listening. And one of the listeners is going to time you for 3 minutes, all right? Go ahead, grab that, yeah, sure. Thanks. Okay? So again, you're gonna take turns speaking, and each round, someone's gonna speak for 3 minutes uninterrupted, okay? One of the listeners will time, okay? You split up the red cards unscientifically. It does not have to be the exact number, okay? You split up the red cards, which are the needs cards, to the listeners, to the 2 or 3 listeners you've got. Split up the red cards, okay? As the person is speaking, you're gonna be looking through those cards. Okay? And you're going to what you're listening for is needs. You're listening for his needs, okay? You're listening for his needs. At the end of the 3 minutes, if they haven't picked any emotions, you say, hey, what are some of the feelings you're having? You can look in your paper there for the feelings, okay? So now the expressor's expressed for 3 minutes. You've asked them what are their emotions that are coming up, or what are they feeling? And then each person lays down one card at a time, a needs card that they've picked. So each listener says, they pick 2 cards, they'll pick a card from their hand, and they'll say, are you needing this? Or you can also put a feeling word in there, but you're just really gonna say, are you needing this? Are you wanting this? One of those things, okay? And everybody takes turns, so until everybody has played 2 cards. Everybody plays 2 cards. Okay? And then the expressor at the end, oh, by the way, the speaker has a poker face, so there's no expression while people are making their guesses. No expression. And then at the end, after everybody's played 2 cards, the speaker says, this one is, I most need this one and this one. The speaker says, here's the 2 needs that are most up for me, and then explains what's going on inside them. Okay? Does that make sense?
So the speaker's talking for 3 minutes, it says up there about a career success?
Yes, so about a career success. It could also be a personal success. It could be that, they lost, that they didn't get divorced this week or something, I don't know.
All right, I'm starting. So my husband was diagnosed with diabetes 4 months ago. And it actually was quite a challenge because our house, we're a bunch of foodies. We like wine. We like good food.
He's also a chef.
And he's a chef. And he's been retired for a year and kind of struggled with retirement and adjusting to a routine. And I think in some way a little bit upset, like I'm still working. And I'm trying to be a supportive spouse. I'm trying to make sure that I have him to retire to, and I don't retire to an urn. And
oh, wow.
So we have really had to adjust our eating. So we're doing a lot of meat-based, reducing our carbs, and I love to make bread. That went out the window.
Oh, no.
I love pastas, all these things that are carbs. So instead of just kind of going, hey, that's horrible, you have diabetes, that's going to suck for your new diet.
For you.
Yeah, for you. We've kind of
Right?
adjusted the whole family. So I think a huge success is being able to identify like what each one of us like to eat, identifying what will taste good. So it's not like, oh, this charcuterie plate's great. Too bad there's not bread on it,
Right.
Which has been a struggle. And then also enjoying things that, hey, if we go out walking, if we're at the beach, walking West Cliff and imagining if we hit the lotto, which house we would buy,
Nice.
rewarding ourselves with a glass of wine. So instead where we might sit and have a bottle of wine, we limit it, we have a glass of wine as a celebration. And so I think that's a huge success for our family. And I feel better, I feel healthier. There's not a weight loss, which is a little frustrating, since I'm giving up so much for my husband. No. But I actually have internalized it where it's our family is eating better. Our family is hopefully going down the healthy path. So it's a big challenge, but hopefully the next time he goes to the doctor, His A1C counts will be good. Maybe he's lost a little weight. And if I can get him to walk more, that would be really good.
See,
So-
we tried to help you.
All right, that's my 3 minutes.
We're supposed to pick, oh, we have to have a hand.
So you get to pick 2 cards from your hand.
How
Do
many
we
cards
just-
is our hand?
Do we take them randomly?
Yeah, you're gonna pick 2 cards and you're gonna take turns, the
How many
listeners.
cards in your hand?
It doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter.
It doesn't matter.
You just
You're gonna
shuffle
go
the
through and pick
cards,
2.
Okay.
And then you
Pick
pick,
two.
and you can give them all the cards.
Oh.
You don't have to.
Hey, that was pretty good. Oh,
There.
Oh, I got one. Celebration
Okay.
or improved health, and like that you've accomplished something difficult, because managing diabetes is really hard.
shared reality. Right?
Yeah.
And flexibility, because you had to learn how to be different for him.
Compassion,
And your-
empathy with your husband's needs.
Okay. And then you have to do 2 rounds of guesses.
2 rounds of guesses? What do you mean?
It says pick 2 cards from your hand, take turns saying, was your need met? And then do 2 rounds of guesses.
Was your need met?
Well, then I don't speak until they're all there. And then I get to pick which one of you's right. No.
Oh, I would say that you're flexible for sure, and that you have a shared reality with the rest of your family.
Yeah, interesting to look through all of these. So I was going to say instead, I would say nurturance, because there's
Oh, that's a good one.
elements of care for your family, care for your husband, care for your own health, and then compassion, empathy with what your husband's going through, both retirement and with the lifestyle changes that are coming along.
Yeah, that's true.
Those are my guesses.
Okay. And those are yours?
Those are mine.
Okay, so then I need to pick the 2 needs that most resonate. And then
You better
to
pick
notice
mine.
emotions now. I actually think they're going to be one from each one of you, because I think it's compassion and empathy, because I know how hard this is for my husband.
Yeah.
And I want him to succeed, and I know that by making it my need to meet that, it will help our whole family.
But that's how you are with everybody.
And shared reality is just
Yeah.
understanding that this is not just a change for him, it's a change for our entire family. And if we don't make that change, I think about the awful things that could happen.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit selfish thinking about I want to retire with him and want to go walking. I don't want to be pushing around a wheelchair or, something
So my
like
husband
that.
and I bought her husband a thing for his feet to help. So she's like, I don't want to be walking. When I retire, I don't want to be pushing him in a wheelchair. And so, because my husband has the same kind of stuff. My husband doesn't have diabetes, but he has problems with his feet and knees and back. And so we got the best videos from her when they tried it out.
Yeah.
One of the things that I noticed, that feeling, it's sort of like the fact that we had to talk for 3 minutes was sort of like a double-handed sword. On one, it was a little daunting, but on another, there was a certain sense of freedom that I could talk for 3 minutes and not be interrupted. So that was really interesting.
Yeah. So there's some freedom, some joy, and then a little bit of awkwardness and like, is this okay kind of a
Yes,
thing.
exactly.
Yeah, for 3 minutes. That's great. And just so you know, when we do empathy exchanges, we do them for 10 minutes uninterrupted talking. If you can imagine having anyone's attention for 10 minutes uninterrupted. What's your name, Joe? Jim, same thing. Jim. If you can imagine Jim speaking for 10 minutes uninterrupted with nobody, like...
Yes, I can.
You can. Robin can imagine it. She experienced it. Yes. Yeah, especially in your 4th marriage, huh? Yeah, right.
Actually, that is my work husband.
Yeah, there you go. You work with. Anything else coming up for anyone with respect to the exercise? Anything that's...
I said until retirement do we part.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
I said until retirement do we part.
Until retirement do we part. That's right. Oh, I get it now. I got it. Okay. Sorry. I'm a little slow, as all my teachers and my parents will tell you.
Do I still get
It's called pension. Anything else? Sorry, I'm feeling very casual. I'm feeling pretty good now. Okay. Yeah, Zeb.
Thank you, Lawrence Michael. So I think we had a really good discussion afterwards, and to Lawrence Michael's point about being able to talk uninterrupted is sort of unusual because, at least for me, and I know this is a huge flaw about myself, I have the tendency to offer corrections or solutions as I see it about what I would have done. And so to hear other people talk, but know that I can't interject and say, oh, you know what, I had a similar story, you know what I might have done in that circumstance, it made me really pay attention to what the speaker had to say. And then, by force, we're picking from these needs cards. Whether or not we had the right card, just the effort of trying to identify what the individual was feeling, I think helped the individual that was talking, right? That you're really listening, you're really trying to hear my needs, and whether or not you guess the right one, it triggers a response. Oh, not quite, but it's close, here's what I was actually feeling, or right on, you understand what I'm saying. So this is a great exercise.
Yeah, so you enjoyed it and you actually felt maybe a little more connection, a little more presence, a little more focus on the other person, because now you're not thinking about what to say, you're just listening. Something like that?
Sure, you got some of my needs there.
Yeah. I've done this once or twice, yeah. Thanks, Zeb. Thanks. I'll give you $20 later for that.
You said 50.
It's good. I'm glad you were listening. He said, I thought you said 50, and I said 20. Yeah. So he was listening. Anything else? I should really stand more like I'm a serious business person here. Okay. Well, the purpose again of the exercise is to just get you start to really focus in on feelings and needs as one piece of the whole thing. There's a whole structure, but for me, the one thing I want you to walk away with is this vocabulary of needs. Secondarily, the feelings. So there's feelings when you have unpleasant or pleasant things happening. And then there's body sensations. So I'm going to ask you to just take a moment. I'm not going to ask you to report out on this. Look at the body sensations list right now. And you're not going to report out on this. I don't want to hear it. But just notice any physical sensations you might be having. And notice where they might be in your body physically. So for me, and I will report this out. So for me, I'm actually fairly relaxed. I'm full. And I'm actually very calm. I'm surprised I'm not nervous. And so for me, there's a little bit of jitteriness in my fingers. There's some soreness in my thighs because I walk every day. And I'm just noticing, great calm and some joy. So what are some physical sensations that you might be noticing? That's the first question. Just take a look. Just make a note of it. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Left out a big one? Okay, I left out a big sensation. Is it something you could say in public, Abel?
Yeah.
What's the sensation?
Feeling old.
Feeling old, that's what he said. Thanks, Abel. Yeah, I appreciate that. Achy is in there, that's right. Achy is in there. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I just roll out of bed onto the floor so I can stretch in the morning. That's if I can manage that. Okay, now, if you can notice, then turn to the feelings pages. And just look at the feelings pages and just notice any feelings that might be associated, any feelings that you could label emotions. And what we're really trying to do is connect physical sensations with feelings. And the reason for that is, I don't know about you, but there will be times when I will notice that I have a cut and it is actually healed and I don't remember actually ever getting cut. Or I'll notice an abrasion on my hand I'll be like, what the heck did that happen? It's actually bleeding actively. I'm sorry if this is too triggering for anyone. I'm like, when did this happen? Obviously it happened an hour and a half ago, right? So anyway, I'll give you a moment. Just take a look at the feeling sheet and just notice any feelings that you're having. Pleasant or unpleasant? Maybe you're feeling anxious because you got to get out of here and you're done listening to Eric. Maybe you're relaxed. Maybe you're excited because you learned something new. Maybe you're shocked. And then take a look one more time at the needs sheet and notice any needs that are coming up. So now we're going to do a little exercise. We're going to popcorn our needs. And if you know how popcorn works, you know, you just pop when you pop. So I just want you to start shouting out needs that are met are coming up for you now. And they can either be met or unmet. Needs that are met or unmet. So for me, a need that was met was nutrition and amusement and fun. And that's it. So go ahead. You can start yelling out needs that are met or unmet now.
Shared awareness.
Shared awareness. Connection. One more time, please. Engaged. Are you Stella? Yeah. Thank you, Stella. Trying to remember who Stella was. I couldn't remember. It's like, oh, Stella. Understanding. Consideration, gratitude. Insight. Support. Joyful. Grateful. Helpful. Thank you, Sylvia. I'm trying to remember everybody's name in here. That's what's happening. I don't know if you noticed that. You're Joe, not Jim, right? Yeah. You're married to Robin. Not Abel or Zeb. No. Oh, we were. Yeah, I understand. It was a contentious divorce. All right. So the sequence is this. If you don't know what your needs are, go for physical sensations. And most people don't pay attention to physical sensations. Then you connect that to feelings, and you can connect that to needs. And they actually can map these things in the body. You can map certain emotions to physical sensations of the body. Heat, whether your jaw is clenched or whether you have warmth in your chest, your legs, wherever it is. So start with physical sensations, go to feelings, and then go to needs, if you don't know what your need is, okay? The other thing is if you're guessing for someone else and you have no idea at all what's happening in Aaron's brain or what he's feeling, you have just no idea. You guess you say what your own need is. You say what your own need is. So if I have no idea what's going on in Aaron's mind and he says something and I can't even pay attention, but I'm trying to just stay with him, I'll just say, Aaron, are you really needing some clarity right now? And it's just a guess. And then Aaron can respond with, what would you respond? No, you're wrong, Eric. Yeah, that's what he says. Okay. All right, so is that clear? Any questions about that? Okay. So we have about 20, 25 minutes left. Did you want to talk about the cards first, or should I continue with the thing?
Oh, sure. So everybody, you've been working with these cards. So Seema is going to purchase 3 of them. And we would like everyone to fill out a survey. We'll email that to you. And then we'll enter your names in a raffle to win one of the 3 that we're purchasing from Eric. So hopefully this is something that you'll be able to use, maybe use with your team. Hopefully that'll be something of value to you. So thank you, Eric.
Thanks. And I can connect you up to buy them. They're usually $40 a deck. So because they're custom cards and they come in this nice case with a magnet in it. So Anyway. But I can buy them in bulk. So let's see. So let's open. So what I'd like to do now is do a couple questions. We'll do 1 to 3 questions, and then we're going to do a role play with Michelle. Is it? Are you the only Michelle in the room? Is there any other Michelle in the room? Just so I could track. I know there's 2 Teresas. Well, there was 2 Teresas. Maybe there's 0 Teresas now. Is there another Teresa in the room? Oh, thank you. Hello, Teresa. Nice to meet you. You were sitting next. Teresa was sitting next to Teresa. You guys travel in groups, huh? Okay. Great. No other Michelles though. Okay. Well, I guess. Thank you. Okay. Any questions? Any other questions? Yes, Michelle.
Can you tell me a little bit about faux feelings? I don't know that we really discussed.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, no, thanks. So Michelle's question is, what are these faux feelings on the back? So so feelings are actually attached to an emotion specifically, are attached to a physical sensation. But we have these other words that we use with, and we call them feelings. So we can say, I feel betrayed, something I hear quite often. I feel attacked. I feel ignored. I feel disrespected. I feel disrespected, which is a surprise to people, right? The reason these are faux feelings is because it's actually something called thinking. It's not a feeling. It's not associated with a body sensation, right? So if I feel like, I'm trying to think of someone. Who's someone whose name I haven't used yet? If I have not used your name yet today, raise your hand. Antonia? Sorry, Antonia's first. Where's Antonia? So I say, Antonia, I feel attacked by you, right? It's not a feeling, even though I use the word feeling in front. What it is it's a thought. It's a thought because Antonia might just be expressing fully with very high intensity that she's really, maybe until you're so frustrated with me because I'm always late to meetings or something, whatever it is. And of course you're trying to run it, but I know, but you know, I'm not thinking right now. I'm thinking you're attacking me, or I'm getting feedback from Aaron, and I think Aaron is attacking me, right? It's a thought. And I have to know what that other person's internal state is to know that it's an attack. So it's a thinking thing. So underneath that, I feel attacked is actually something like I'm feeling confused, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling disappointed, I'm feeling frustrated. So those are the actual feelings under attacked. And the needs underneath might be safety, to be seen, to be understood, to have some shared reality, some shared awareness, some shared understanding. Those might be the needs underneath. But attacked is a thought. Okay? Does that make sense? So what's another faux feeling? Well, we'll just ask. You can even look at the list if you want to talk about it specifically, and I can run through the example. What's another faux feeling or something you think that might be a faux feeling? And you can pick one. Ignored? Who said that? Jose? So when you're feeling ignored, what might you be feeling underneath?
So like hurt or or angry, sad?
Yeah, hurt, angry, or sad, absolutely. But it requires me to actually for you to think that I'm ignoring you, you have to think that you have to have some knowledge of my internal state, right? So you're thinking that I'm ignoring you but what you're noticing is, but you actually have a feeling, okay, underneath. And the actual need is to be what? What are the actual needs?
To be needed?
To be needed, sure, absolutely. Maybe other guesses? Connection, maybe wanting connection. Wanting to matter, maybe. What else?
Dad said to be heard.
To be heard, right. To be heard, sure, absolutely. And of course, if I walk into a room like this and I walk right by Lucinda, for example. Is it Lucinda? Is that right? I got it. Okay. I can't believe it. Yeah. With Pauline and Karen, right? I ignored all 3 of them when I walked in the room, right? I didn't know who they were. I had no idea, but I totally ignored you 3 when I walked in the room, yeah?
They were ignoring you, they don't know.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I ignored them, they ignored me, right? But it would require me to actually have an idea that they were actually ignoring me instead of just taking care of myself. Does that make sense? So the idea is then, if I know it's a faux feeling, I go for the real feeling, and I start with the physical sensation and then the feeling underneath. Now, here's the thing. Don't go to your partner or your kids or your parents tonight and say, that's not a real feeling. Don't do that. Okay? Does anybody know what you do instead? Give them the handout. That's right. That's right. Who said that? Lucinda, did you say that? Lucinda gets an A. So I'll actually go back. If someone says, I feel ignored, what do you do? Get well soon. Yeah. This is the answer, right? So it's empathy first. If someone says, I feel ignored, I feel attacked, you know what it is, you give them empathy first. I'm sorry, your name again, sir? Matthew. Matthew, I believe you. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions? Michelle's got a lot of questions today. I'm not going to look over there, but no. Any other? No, it's okay. I'm just kidding. I appreciate the questions. Okay. Here's what I'd like to do now is, and then we'll do a role play with Michelle. If you're well, can you want to come up here? You'll stand in the front. I know you always wanted to be a star.
Sir, as a former trainer, this is my normal style.
Oh, really?
That's right.
I didn't know you were a normal trainer. A formal trainer. What did Former. What happened?
I got promoted.
You got promoted?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Yay, that's good. Okay. I was just wondering if it was your sense of humor. Okay. So you've got a situation. Do you want to talk about it a little? I'm trying to remember. Is there a specific situation that you've got?
No, I can, but
I
think it's just sort of, you're right, you hit the head on the nail with the oppositional sort of positions folks are taking these days and being able to feel empathetic towards someone.
Right.
And exercise that although Jennifer had a really great spot, that if you kind of get out of your head and focus on their needs, it does perhaps cause a little less triggering sort of stuff, but you know.
Right. So one way is to get out of your head, and there's actually I have a whole module called Dissolving Enemy Images. But
I need that one.
Yeah, I think everybody does. I think we live in a culture of, quite frankly, judgment.
I think that's what I'm speaking.
And I think judgment is actually important, and it's the reason we exist is in addition to that, all that other conditioning. It was people who could tell the difference between berries that would kill you and the berries that would keep you alive. The ones that could pick the ones that would keep you alive, they lived.
Indeed.
Number one. Number two, it's the ones that had the false positives that also lived, which means that they looked at these berries and they said, I'm not so sure that these are safe to eat, even if they were. And then they went away, okay? Which is why our brains are wired actually for judgment of, there could be real danger here, so I'm going to run away. So sometimes when I get scared, I think there's a biological component which says is that people who had false positive that we think this is dangerous, but it's not actually dangerous, that we run away. So I'm sorry, the reason I'm saying that is because judgment is important, number one. Number two, empathizing with the other is, in my mind, important. And for me also, as you move towards a mindfulness approach, or what we say is NVC consciousness, you really understand where you are first in that process. So the way these role plays work is you come up with a situation and one of us, we each play, so you either get to play yourself or the other person, okay? And I get to be the perfect NVC person.
All right.
Okay.
And I know I can.
Right. And then just so you know, that means you can express fully with them keeping in mind that this is being recorded. Do you have her on camera, by the way?
No, don't you dare. No.
Huh? I'm trying to decide. Do you want to have it recorded or not recorded?
Oh, okay.
You're okay? Okay, just watch your language, young lady.
Oh.
Okay. So, is there a specific situation you can think of that you'd be willing to work on?
Sure.
Okay. Do you want to be yourself or the other person?
Oh, I'm going to be the other person.
You're going to be the other person, okay. So I just want you to keep in mind this, there's a level of intensity and you can say anything you want. And I do not want the intensity of kill the trainer, okay? Okay? Okay, you got it?
I have
Since you used to be a
empathy there.
trainer,
I
you got
have
it?
empathy
Okay.
there, yes.
All right. I mean, you can try, but we'll see. Don't. So, because the purpose is education, not, okay. So can you give us just like a minute or 2 minutes of background?
Yeah, sure. So I'm in TSS on the healthcare side. We were working very diligently to ensure that our community was vaccinated. And apologies if you feel, right, people have, but it was hard to be doing that and hear people from the community as well as on our team talk about conspiracy sort of things, from their tracking us to this is nonsense to they shouldn't make us get vaccinated and we can still be in a small room together even though I'm not vaccinated.
Yeah, yeah. So it sounds like it was relentless, it was really hard, and it was probably very challenging because you wanted to get your job done, you wanted to protect people, you wanted to care for yourself and care for other people. And it was hard to be empathetic. So you really actually needed some empathy probably as well.
It was very discouraging indeed.
Yeah, yeah, so you felt really discouraged and yeah, you would have liked to have some shared reality maybe even.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And maybe some understanding that you were doing the best you could to take care of everybody.
I think we all were, yeah.
And you wanted to be effective.
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to be you, and you're going to be someone who doesn't really want to get vaccinated.
That's
Is that
right.
what I'm here?
That's right.
Okay. So let's. There's the trigger warning here for if anybody who's done this. Okay. Can everybody see? Everybody can hear and see. Okay. All right. Okay. So.
Yeah, so this is ridiculous. I don't know why they're making us do all this. All of these hours, there's no proof this works. They keep changing their minds. I think there's something wrong with these vaccines. I understand people have been talking about them being able to track you through these vaccines, right? Just no science behind it. And how can they force us to do this? I was hired to do this, and now I'm being forced to do something that I just think is wrong, unsafe.
Wow, it sounds like you're really activated. You're really frustrated. You're really frustrated, and you're really concerned. You're like, what do I do? Do I trust? I really got trust issues. I don't know, not that she has trust issues.
Wait, can
Sorry,
someone check the list?
sorry.
Trust
This is not the way it goes. No. It sounds like choice and trust are really, really up for you right now. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and you'd really like to have some choice in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, is there anything else?
That sounds like it's probably it, yeah.
Okay, you can give me a little more energy, just so you know.
I really can't even think it that well. I was just so offended by it.
Yeah, so you're really even offended that you have to make this choice. You really want choice. I mean, autonomy and agency are so important to you, yeah?
That's true, right? They were trying to make us get these vaccines.
And you really care about your health.
Yes.
You really care. Well-being is really important to you.
That's right. And these darn Democrats are just taking over the world and making us.
Yeah, it feels like, it's a choice again, choice and agency.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
choice and agency are really, really up for you, man. Really,
You
really.
make that seem terribly easy. It wasn't that easy in the moment. But
No,
Yep, that's
no,
it. You're right.
no, yeah, and
that's it.
so it is.
That's it.
I really appreciate your, thanks for your honest expression there. Yeah, no,
You're
I appreciate
great,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you really care. I think you really care. Would you be up for hearing a little bit about what's coming up for me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to know, I really care about your health, and I care about the health of everybody here. And I hear that agencies and autonomy are really important to you. And you know what? I really wish we could do something. And we kind of have the structure that we follow. And I understand trust ups for you, but we have the structure that's really, really important for us, and it's really for our well-being. So well-being is really important for me as well. Does that make sense, that well-being is really important for me as well?
No, because you're supporting stuff that is not good for the well-being of our community.
Yeah.
You're out there.
Yeah, so you're really concerned about well-being
Yeah.
as well, and choice is really important to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah.
So.
You just nipped that right in the bud. You just put that on its heels quickly. That was
Right,
nice.
no,
That was nice.
no, thanks, Michelle, I'm so good at this. No, but I wasn't the one that actually, I wasn't the one who
Give you
actually.
an Eric Award?
Yeah, you can, I would love a CEMA Eric Award. Sorry. I want to again just say, I mean, it seems easy because she's rational. No, I shouldn't say that. But the fact is, but one of the things, okay, let me think for a minute. I'm thinking about the teaching. I'm thinking now about what's the best way to support learning. So let's do this. How is it for you? We're going to start with this. How was this interaction for you, Michelle?
So I really liked watching that. I liked watching how even when I was oppositional, you did not try and push back. You just sort of very zen let it pass, acknowledging what I was saying and not reasserting what you were saying.
Right. So then I went with the flow. I stayed with you and what you were saying.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay, thank you. Your name? Gigi.
So, but, okay, so you acknowledged, but then, I mean, what's the end solution? And she's still not gonna go do what she needs to do. She's saying what you're doing is wrong. So, I mean, she's saying you're supporting all this. You should be on my side because, you know, I'm doing what's best for the community. Where does this go from here?
Yeah, thanks. So I'm glad you're saying that because I was going to acknowledge that specific thing. This is easy because I don't need to make Michelle take this shot. It's also hard for me as an individual because although I'll tell you I am vaccinated like 5 or 6 times over, I truly believe in vaccination and I have degrees and all kinds of things. But it's really hard for me, first because I believe in the science, and second because I believe in choice. So for me, within myself, I'm torn as a trainer, as a human being. So I have a hard time with not giving people choice. Okay, so choice is just as important to me as vaccinating to protect. So let me make that totally transparent first. So I don't have the challenge of making sure to execute. So if I were to do it, so I'm gonna go back into the role play. I might say something like this. I hear what you're saying, Michelle. Choice is super important to you, and it's super important to me too. And here's what we're facing. You know, this is my understanding. You know, we're facing this thing, and this is where I de-escalate sometimes. So this is actually a de-escalation technique, not an MVC technique. I don't have choice actually in this myself. This is a mandate that's come down from this county, the state, whatever, that we have to get vaccinated. I don't have any choice either in this, and I would love to have choice. I'd love to give you choice, and this is what's going to happen, and I don't have a choice in this. The structure is set up so that we all need to get vaccinated, otherwise we can't go to work.
And can I say what it brought up for me? It was a reminder. I wasn't going to change anybody's mind anyway. The least I could do was just connect with another human being or walk away. That was a reminder that is more important than the factual piece.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, that the connection is important to you. You couldn't change the person's mind, but you could acknowledge what they were wanting or needing in that moment.
Yep.
Okay, I see. Thank you. Abel? Oh, wait, I'm sorry, hold on. Can you hold just a second? Gigi, did that sort of help? Did that support learning?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I can see where this conversation could go further, where they say, well, you shouldn't be listening to them say you can't do this, and we do have a choice. But I think your approach is the best you can do in this situation.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you actually are the ones that have to execute in this particular realm. I have sort of had to execute it in some environments, but not the way you have had to.
You have a question?
Okay, so I have Abel and then I have Teresa. I'm sorry, I didn't see you earlier, so I'm gonna go to Abel first.
My question is about knowing the distinction between you and the, I would say, aggressor, right? Or opposition. When the opposition is actually, it's not about you or what they're doing. It's the higher government. They're against. They don't want the government to push stuff down the throat, or it's being forced. I mean, you mentioned earlier that it was you're in the process. You're in it to, you guys are this kind of same situation. But from what I've heard from friends and other people, when they were against it, they didn't want it be pushed down. They didn't want to conform and just fit, and because it should be agreed upon, or they should be given time to learn about everything, not just push.
Yeah, so if I think I heard what you said is there are some people that don't want the pressure. They would like have a little more space and a little more time, and then make the decision rather than have it be time bound, like you need to do it now, otherwise you can't go to work. That kind of thing?
No,
Sorry, it's more of a political thing where they're not really fighting against you. It's a fight against the government, or not government, but authority.
So there's some
authority.
resistance
Yeah.
against something else.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not personal with the person sitting in front of you. It's some resistance, it's some rebellion against some larger force, something like that. Yeah, I would say that so for me, the way I approached that again was with empathy, which is, it sounds like you really, if you do this, it's going to really cause some resentment. Or I would go back to always choice. It's still about choice, but then the question is it about, choice at large? I mean, like in this bigger sense? And that's what makes these needs universal. So there's a distinction. So there's feeling versus thinking, which we covered with feelings versus full feelings or thoughts. And then there's needs versus strategies. So a need is something abstract like well-being or choice. You can sit down or you can stay up here.
I wasn't sure if we were good.
Yeah. Sorry, and I wasn't sure if I'd need you again. So just stay up here. So the other distinction is needs versus strategies. Needs versus strategies. So one strategy for protection is everybody stays home. Another strategy is everybody gets vaccinated. Another strategy is some people get vaccinated and those who choose to not to, they work from home. Another strategy is everybody who gets vaccinated keeps their jobs. Everybody who doesn't gets fired. Okay? This is the same so I'm going to use I hope this is okay in a public setting. So you can think of a strategy for love, right? You can love a sports team, you can love a house, you can love a person. You can get attached to the idea of one person meeting all of your needs, including love. You can become attached to the idea of your sports team winning. Those are all strategies. Love is an abstract idea, it's also a feeling. And it's a need. So it's a need, but the specific strategy can be a person, it could be a team, it could be an outcome, right? Does that make sense? So the distinction is between what is a need and what is a strategy. So when you say, so my strategy, say I don't want to get vaccinated, one strategy for me is to yell about it. One strategy for me is to quit. One strategy is for me to rebel and resist and still get it. One strategy is to rebel and quit. One strategy is to say, I'm going to take a leave of absence for 3 weeks and then I'm not going to come back, and then I'll decide. So a strategy gives me space. Does that make sense? So it's a good question because I can introduce this condition. So most people cannot tell the difference between needs and strategies. Needs are abstract and universal. Strategies are specific. Nutrition is a need. A specific strategy is pizza or sushi, right? Those are specific strategies, right? For me, I love connecting with my sons. And for me, all I need to do is be in the same room with them while they're both looking in their phones. And for me, that's connection. I am perfectly happy with that. Does that make sense? Everybody should have, anyway, never mind. Okay. Teresa, thanks.
So in an ideal world, I want to connect with you. And also in an ideal world, I'm connected to myself. But obviously we don't live in an ideal world. And I think as county employees, we're still living the trauma of what the pandemic was and the trauma that the community continues to carry. And so sometimes it's really hard to be there for someone else when you can't be there for yourself. And so I really appreciate this training. I hope this is an ongoing conversation because as county employees, I think we've been forced to continue like nothing happened. And we're seeing people melt down in every direction possible because we have not paused to say, where are we hurt? Where do we need to heal? Where do I need to step back? Where do I not keep pretending that nothing happened?
Thanks for that, Teresa. What I heard is that this is meaningful, that you're aware of the real trauma that people have, and it's ongoing, and that really hasn't been seen or even understood, and how you're really wanting to have more of this kind of attention, acknowledgement, understanding of what's going on and continues to go on, something like that. And you'd like to have this kind of activity to support more well-being. Thank you. I think it's true, and I think it's ongoing, and it's particular. And what's amazing is that, you know, all of you and all the people you work with continue to serve the public while you continue to deal with the effects on yourself. And I really want you all to have all the well-being, all the time, to take, you know, really honestly a leave of absence and just get restored. Because it's really hard once you get down, it's very difficult to come back up. How is that for you to hear, Teresa? Is anything else coming up for you?
I think it's really important to get the acknowledgement. And I wish you were the top of our administration versus a trainer, because I think that's the struggle that we're facing as county employees. Yeah. And I see the fragmentation and the breakup of community, and I don't see us stepping into building community. And I think that's the only thing that will save us.
So community for support, belonging, for support, co-support, belonging, would be really supportive. That's what I think I'm hearing. Anything else? Thank you, Teresa. Is it Teresa or Therese? Teresa, thank you, Teresa. Thanks. Aaron?
Thinking about how earlier you said like you had different strategies, one of them was honesty. And so I think sometimes we feel like we have to empathize with everyone, but the honest approach sometimes is like, I'm not going to put myself in danger. And so that's something I thought when I worked at the SSA, I was in Debs, and like I had some of my workers would really like go too far. I'm like, if you're in danger, you don't have to empathize anymore. Like you got to protect yourself. And I think sometimes as county employees, we feel like we have to be of service all the time, and we don't ever be like, you know what? Like I don't have to empathize with the Nazi, right? Like I don't have to like have you spew these things at me. Like I can be professional and say, you know what? Like if you're going to speak to me like this, we're going to have to schedule another day for you to finish this paperwork or to do whatever other services we're going to do. And sometimes I think that honesty you brought up in the beginning is something we don't want to do because we're so filled with like, well, I have to serve the public. But I think there's times where we forego that honesty part. And you brought that up at the beginning. I think you said to your parents, right? It's like a joke, like, Mom, I just want you to like shut up for a little bit, which we've all said to our mothers, I think. But like, I think, well, I've thought it about my mother. I probably have, yeah. She's 5 feet tall. I'm still a little scared of her. But like, I don't think we say to our clients and our customers sometimes, I think we're afraid to do that, to be like, this is not appropriate. It's putting me in danger, you know, psychologically, physically, whatever else. And I think sometimes I haven't always felt support from people above me to do that with our clients. And so when I had a team, I tried to do that for them. But like, I think that's something we don't discuss enough, that honesty of being able to say like, nope, that's my line. And it might be homophobia, it might be racism, it might be physical danger, but I think sometimes we need that support to be able to say, no, I can't serve this person right now. It's not safe for me, and find someone else or find alternate strategies.
So I think I'm hearing it's been important for you to support your people, our people, in saying, hey, yeah, you don't have to do this. Look out for your own physical and even mental well-being. You don't have, there's no have to here to serve. You can take care of yourself so that you're physically safe. That's what I'm hearing, and it's an important value to you.
Yeah, and I think like someone's saying, it's just something I think we need to hear from above, and then we need to, in
You
our
would love
roles.
to hear you'd like to get that
support
support
people
at
close.
all levels,
Yeah.
especially above. Someone's gonna say, Aaron, it's totally okay for you to say, yeah, reschedule, you come back in a week, 3 weeks, when you have it, when this is a better fit for what we can get done, or whatever, with this intensity is too high, it's not gonna work, and I'm afraid we're not gonna get this done, something like that.
Yeah.
And you'd like to have the support to say no.
Yeah, I think some of this is internalized. I think a lot of really good county workers don't like doing that because they're really involved in public service, but that's how you burn out. And that's how you just,
So you'd like to prefer a strategy and an intention from the above that says you can stop, but you're also recognizing that individuals have an internalized, I really want to serve you, and I'm going to take this in. And so what I think I'm hearing you say is 2 things. You would love to have support from up above. Number 2, you'd like to have everybody here recognize everybody's effort and their passion to support people. And you want to support people in saying, no, this is not okay. Set what we normally call a loving boundary, right? Which means it's a loving boundary for me. Mom, I got to go. Mr. and Ms. Client, we're going to pause this. Let's just pause this conversation. We'll set a time in 3 weeks. You come back and we'll finish this paperwork in 3 weeks. So you set a loving boundary with a time bound so that they know they can come back. And then they can choose. First of all, you get to choose with the interaction. And then they get to choose. Do I want to take a moment to go to the bathroom, splash some water in my face and come back and finish this? Or do I want to take 3 weeks to cool down? That kind of thing. Something like that. Did I get the essence of what you're doing? You're talking about?
I think it's just working this in the framework, right, of like knowing when to stop the empathy and start to go back to revert to the honesty. That initial framework you talked about, you have 3 choices.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And so the answer, I'm going to give you some guidance, and I think we're already towards the end of our time here. In NBC, one of the things we say is don't do anything because you have to out of duty or obligation, which is tough, right? It's tough when you're an employee. It's tough when you have a commitment to serve. But a lot of the people who study were sort of raised, if you remember my very first analogy, which is that we're trained essentially to be people pleasers in order to belong to the village that we're in so we don't get thrown into the jungle with the wolves. I don't know if there's wolves in the jungle. No. The forest with the wolves, or the saber-toothed tigers in the jungle. Anyway, so we're sort of biologically wired that way, and then our parents like to sort of teach us how to be obedient, nice kids. So we serve our parents, and then we serve the public. It's kind of, so I want to make sure that this is understood. There's a passion to serve, but there's also a biological imperative, and then there's a cultural imperative as well. So, but there's 2 other things. You don't do anything unless you choose to do it. Basically, don't do anything out of duty or obligation because you have to. Only do things with the playfulness of a child feeding a hungry duck. I know, it's hard to imagine, right? But I can tell you that with my son, in my evolution over just 4 years, it took about 3 years to get here. Pardon me. When my son, who just moved in with me, which I've been delighted with, he's 20 now. No, I'm not being sarcastic, but I moved out and then he moved in with me. But he will do things like this. He'll be like, Dad, I wiped off the counter. I'll be lying in bed. I wiped off the counter. Here's the paper towel that I wiped it off. Do you see how dirty your counter is? And I will just start laughing. I won't get irritated. I won't get, It's because I'm just so happy he's there. It meets so many needs. But I can be playful and I can respond in that way. And when he asks me to do something, I don't get angry. I can actually do it with the playfulness of a child feeding a hungry duck anytime he asks me to do something. And it's just a shift in my entire mindset as to how I hear a 20-year-old boy asking me for stuff. And because I can do that, we have a great relationship, because then he knows he can come and talk to me. And then I can have a conversation with him like, you know, I hear that it's really important you're going to have the counter clean. Sorry. I want you to know I really appreciate that you're cleaning up. And then I try not to say sarcastic things like, why couldn't you have done that when we all lived together in our family home, or something like that. I don't do that. The point is that it's hard to get to that. But what we want to do at least get to is the point where I like to be is I can at least know where my choices are. And this is where I think it's important. Is like, instead of thinking I have to, if I can move to an idea, I choose to. So if, trying to think of someone who I haven't, who's another name I haven't used today? Jennifer. Jennifer? There's another Jennifer, there's two Jennifers. So Jennifer comes in and she's just, for whatever, Jennifer's being combative with me. And now I can say like, okay, I remember it's self-empathy, empathy, honesty, self-empathy, empathy, honesty. And now I'm triggered, I'm activated, and I'm flooded. I'm like, I don't like this. I think Jennifer's gonna get up and she's gonna, I just don't wanna deal with Jennifer's loud voice anymore. I can think, I'm really wanting respect, I'm wanting calm, I'm wanting efficiency, I've got other things to do, I can't take this, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I'm frustrated, I'm angry, and then what are my needs? I do my needs. I'm really wanting understanding. I want people to understand I'm doing the best I can. Now, if I've calmed down enough using self-empathy, I can choose, now that I have awareness, okay, first I have the awareness, then I go into self-reflection, which is this process of self-empathy, empathy, honesty, and then I can be in choice as to my next reaction. At the moment I have self-awareness, I can do self-reflection. When I can go from reflection, I can go to choice, and I can decide. And even if I can't do it with playfulness, I can do it with agency. I can do it with the idea that I can choose what I'm going to do this next moment. And the next moment might be, I understand that Jennifer's had a really hard day. She's been waiting for 5 weeks for this appointment, and she really needs this thing because she has to take care of her 3 kids and her 12 dogs and the 3 cats and the 16 chickens, and she really needs this permit today, or whatever it is, right? And Jennifer just needs to get out of here because she has so many people to take care of. Maybe I can empathize in my head, and then I can choose either to say, Jennifer, I'm happy to help you. Can we just take a moment and just take a couple breaths? So that's a simple, doable request in the moment. Or I can say, Jennifer, let's take 5 minutes. Or I can say, Jennifer, come back tomorrow. Or I can say, Jennifer, it sounds like you're really stressed and this is so important to you and I really want to hear you. Could we pause for a minute? Okay? Or I can say, Jennifer, this really feels dangerous for some reason. I'm not quite sure. I'm just a little scared right now. Honest expression. Could we take a pause? Do you see all the choices that come up once So that's one thing. Self-empathy, self-awareness, self-reflection, feelings and needs, and then choice. I go to choice. So even if I'm playful, some choice. So then the last thing I want to say, and I'm trying to remember the point now, physical safety. Physical safety. So if, say you're in a situation like Michelle and the person is getting more and more animated, they absolutely don't want it, and I feel like I'm in physical danger, there is never a have to. In fact, I would say, and I deal with people, unfortunately, in this realm all the time, which is, usually it's women, they're in physical danger from a partner or something. I say, you get yourself safe. If you're truly in physical danger, you get yourself safe. If you're physically in danger. But that's different than if you're, remember the very first thing about psychological safety and physical safety? Part of the self-awareness and self-reflection is to really understand, if I don't feel safe, is it because I'm actually not safe? Or is it because my body doesn't think I'm safe because of something else? So if I'm not physically safe, I should remove myself from that situation and protect myself immediately. Does that make sense? Always take care of yourself first so you can take... The other analogy is the oxygen mask in the plane. Always put yours on before you put it on your child or your parent or maybe your spouse, I suppose. We don't know what happened to Robin's spouses.
I only have one.
so far? One left. Okay, so we're coming to the end of our time. I'm sorry, one more plug for me. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm a certified trainer in nonviolent communication. I do a number of trainings. This one we worked on my nonprofit, right? It's very different for corporate. So there's several modules. One of them is using part of what I use for the role play, which is 9 steps for effective communication. It uses all the steps plus other stuff. I usually don't put the pricing up there, but that's not the pricing you'll get. That's the corporate pricing, and they do pay that. Just so you know, okay? You're getting it at a fraction of the price because I believe in the work you're doing, and I love the work you're doing. So appreciate you. But mostly, well, it's Michael I appreciate. Okay, then the next thing is I do all kinds of things like skills for coaching teams and individuals, transforming judgments or blaming criticism, saying no, hearing no, befriending your anger, befriending other people's anger, transforming regret, and then setting boundaries or setting loving boundaries. Okay? So, again, I'll send out the slides to Lawrence Michael, so you'll get my email address. You can find me on cnvc.com as well. Oh, this is my friend who was supposed to be here, but she's not. And yeah, so I appreciate your time and energy. Is there anything else?
Yes, thank you so much, Eric. Everybody, just as you can see, there's a lot of information about nonviolent communication. This is just the tip of the iceberg, but I just thought it was really something important that I wanted to share with everyone, and I'm hoping that you learned maybe one or maybe a few things. Now, as Eric said, I will forward the slide deck to everyone here, as well as contact information. If you are interested in this stems from Marshall Rosenberg's Nonviolent Communication. It's a book. You can look it up. You can also go, as Eric mentioned, to CNVC, Center for Nonviolent Communication.com to get more information there, and that's how I found Eric. Really quick, a quick round of applause for Eric for leading us through this morning. Thank you so much, Eric. I want to thank all of you for the time. I know it's very hard to get managers away from the office, so I really appreciate it's a big chunk of time that we're asking you to come here, so we're very thankful that you're here. But I would also like to you talked about from the top down, and I would just like to really appreciate and call our Director of Labor Relations, Matthew Cottrell, as one of our execs who are here today, as well as Sylvia Jefferson, Director of Tax and Collections. I also want to put a little bit of a side that Sylvia actually has a managers meeting every Wednesday, and when she heard that this was happening, as a testament to the topic, she actually canceled her managers meeting and encouraged all of her SEMA managers to attend. So thank you, Sylvia, for doing that. Thank you again to all of you for being here. We will send out a survey to all of you so that you will be entered in a raffle to win one of the 3 cards that we are getting from Eric. So thank you so much again, everybody, for being here, and we look forward to seeing you at the next PD event. Thank you.